So in today's training, I'm going to be underwriting your deals. I'm going to do that first for anybody who needs help with that. And then I'm going to go into how to cultivate responses to real estate agents. And for those of you that are new or are young or sound young, this is going to be for you. This is how you're going to get people to listen to what you're saying, despite the fact you sound like you're 12. Okay. And then I'll also be kind of critiquing you guys, and I'm going to start doing this. So if you don't want me to do it, if you've got like anxiety or some shit like that, that's fine. You know, I don't want to put anybody on blast on video, but I'm going to start giving you guys little critiques on certain things that you say that you should stop doing. And because of that, we're going to start role playing real estate and seller interactions. So I don't know if we're going to start doing that today or if we're going to start doing that on Monday, but that's coming. And if you guys do say something that's like, stop saying that, stop wording it that way, stop using that filler word, I'm going to start, correcting you guys. Because I think that's the only thing you guys don't have. Everything that you need to say, all the information to understand the deal, it's all either in the video, in the Discords, whatever. What you guys need is, okay, but how do I talk to them? How do I put this together? Everyone always says, damn, Sean, that was smooth. Okay, I'm going to teach you guys how to be smooth. And then you guys can just input your own personality into that structure. So first and foremost, let's underwrite some, and this is, that's not going to be an overnight thing. Keep in mind, stop, anyone who's trying to compare themselves to me, don't at all. Yeah, it's a waste of time. Couple things. I'm crazy. There are 6 of me. And if your brain isn't broken, you're ahead. All right. So don't try and emulate me. I've got my own little superpower. What you guys need to do is find a way to implement what I'm going to teach you into how you normally talk. And that's going to take time. It's not going to happen overnight. It's not even going to happen in a couple of weeks. It's going to take time, and it's going to take you practicing, getting on the phone. Okay, I said that this time. That didn't work. Let me say it a couple more times. Let me tweak a little bit. Okay, cool. I've said this 4 or 5 times and it worked. Then you start building on what works and getting away from what doesn't work. So if you're expecting one training to get you better, to start sounding more like you know exactly what you're talking about, the confidence and all that, it's going to take time. So just hang out for that. It'll come. All right. So I think Amber's got deals to work on. If anyone has deals to underwrite, that's what we're going to be doing right now. And then after I'm done underwriting everybody's deals, then we'll go into realtor responses. Amber, what you got?
Purchase price.
Is this a seller finance?
Yes.
Okay.
$259.
All right.
Rent is $1,880. So I really put $919.
Okay, I would have too.
Seller finance is $241.
Okay.
Now this is the funky thing. So the monthly payment Deal Sniper gave me was $800.
Okay.
Down
Wait,
payment was $18.
what's the tax and the insurance?
Taxes is $63.59.
Damn.
Yep.
Where is this at? What city is
Dallas.
this? Oh, that's right. Yeah. All right. Well, that makes sense. All right. What's the insurance?
$987, and then there is no HOA.
Okay. And you said Deal Sniper says we're giving them 800. That seems
Mm-hmm.
too high.
Yes, it does. So I bumped it down to 5, and that works.
I mean, what is 800? Oh,
What do
hold
you
on a
mean?
second. No, I just wanted to
Oh,
see what it was for the cash on cash return. Hold on one second.
so this is the first time that I've gotten numbers from Deal Sniper that wasn't quite.
Yeah. Can you DM me the address?
I sure can. Hold
Hey,
on.
bro, we got 2 properties that I've come across in the last 48 hours where the Deal Sniper numbers are giving a bad cash on cash return. I'm going to send you the addresses later on tonight. Yeah, we got to fix that. We can't have that be a thing. Okay, so you dropped it down to 500. Good call. All right, so you're at 18. All right, so what do they want?
I like to prep before I get there. So this is something that I noticed a problem. I wanted to address it beforehand.
Yeah, it looks like the highest you can go is 700.
And I am down. I'm not. I don't want to do the lower end value anymore. So that's why I
Smart.
you know.
Yeah,
I
very
even
smart.
adjusted from 18 down to 15 down to see which one would work better.
Okay. Okay. So you're understanding underwriting the deal now and what the numbers represent and which ones are important and which ones are not.
I just need to make sense of this one.
Okay. So is there anything else funky about the deal?
Nope. Well, I did a short term as well.
All right. Hold up. What was the short term?
3,300, but I just put 3,000.
All right. I'm gonna do 3,300. Actually, I should
Okay.
probably do 3,000. No, I'm gonna do 3,300 because that's based off of what 60% occupancy rate, which could very much be higher. Yeah, no, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do 30.
Okay.
Got our numbers maxed out, so no HOA.
Nope.
Right? But our taxes are 6,300 and 987. Yeah, it's better as a short-term rental. What kind of condition is it in?
Fully renovated.
Oh yeah, this would be damn. That's a good short-term rental.
So my question is now, we kind of talked about it yesterday briefly, but if I want to mark it as a short term, how would obviously the seller doesn't need to know what I'm, the specifics.
Right.
But as far as down payment and everything like that goes, how would I kind of figure that out?
Well, you've got, what are you trying? Oh, you want to see how much you can make on the deal?
No, that's actually not my concern right now. Just in
Okay, then I
relation
don't
to the
understand the
short
question.
term, what would a good down payment be? Like, would it still be that 15 or 18 down and $1,000 payment?
Yeah, this number here is based off of the same down payment as the long-term rental.
Oh,
So, you can actually, let me see. Let me add another thing real quick. No, I'm sorry. That's not right. 34. That's a little low. That's better, but see, here's oh, yeah, fine. Never mind. I was about to say something stupid. Here's the, yeah, you could get away with giving them $1,000 a month if they press it, but I would really get it at 500 if you can, because if you get it at 500, then your short-term rental numbers are phenomenal.
okay.
So yeah, if you can get it at 500, that'd be great.
Okay, still at 18 down?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, here's the thing. Because your deal, you want a chess move?
Yeah, I love
Okay,
chess.
so because your deal numbers are so good here, I mean, they're good here too. They're good here too. But whichever one, they're going to have an issue with one of these. They're either going to have an issue with the down payment, the monthly payment, or both. So whichever one they want more of, meaning, hey, we want more of a down payment or we want more of a monthly payment, whichever one they want more of, lean heavier that way, and then lean really heavy that way. Because let's say they want more monthly, for example. Let's say, hey, 500 is crazy. We want $1,000. Okay, then do $1,000, but then say, hey, you know what? I can do $1,000 a month, but now I'm going to be at $15,000 down, right? And the reason why you're doing that, let me change this really quick. 246. And the reason why I'm doing that is because you want to drop your entry fee as low as possible so you can broaden the range for short-term rental buyers that you're going to be pushing this to. And the reason being is because this obviously won't work for a long-term rental. So since your only shot is a short-term rental at that point, then that's why you want to lean heavily into, okay, fine. If I'm going to give you more monthly, then I need to give you less on the down, and don't make it too much less. You don't want to kill the deal. It still works, but you still want to make it as attractive as possible. And then the reverse of that is also true. If they want more on the down payment and they don't really budge too much on the monthly, well, now it works for both sides, long-term and short-term. So then you want to just make it as good as possible. Okay, fine. I can give you more on the down payment, but then I got to drop that monthly $100.
Gotcha.
Because it's just going to make the deal that much more attractive and then work that much more for both, which is going to give you the biggest broadest net for buyers that could potentially take this deal down. And even dropping this thing from 500 to 400 doesn't seem like a big deal, but the cash flow is at 7,200 a year, and your cash on cash returns at 23, so it's much better than what it was. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
I'm with you. Thank you.
No problem. Someone had a question. Who was? Oh, James, what's up, dude?
Yes, sir. Whenever you guys are underwriting the deal right here, how come you don't have the realtor commission? Because don't we have to pretty much take care of that?
If they ask for it, yeah. But Amber's pretty good about getting deals with no realtor commission. She's very lucky with that. However, Amber, is there realtor commission in this one yet?
Nope.
Yeah. So no, we wouldn't. If we only, I mean, don't get me wrong. I want real estate agents to get paid, and if we can help in that, that's great. But if they don't ask for it, then we're not going to make the deal worse.
So you're not volunteering it. You're just letting them come out of that down payment. I guess the seller's going to get. Is that what you are doing?
Yeah. And or again, if the real estate agent asks for it, or if they say, hey, I'm going to represent you on the buyer side. Okay, well then, yeah, then we're paying commission. But if they don't bring that up at all, then no, yeah, we're going to make the deal attractive so we can actually sell it for them.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, I've been volunteering.
Oh, you can. There's nothing wrong with that. Just as long as the numbers still work. And yeah, you're gonna get the highest amount of good responses by offering it up front. That's absolutely a thing. So yeah, you can keep doing that, but I don't volunteer it.
And numbers work obviously better without it. So okay,
Yeah.
cool. Well, I didn't realize. All right, I appreciate it.
No worries. Matthew, what's up?
Hey, so on the deal machine calculator, under our input tab, where it's giving us that monthly payment of the seller financed amount, what is that just showing us what that is, or like where does that play into our deal?
Well, hold on a second. I'll tell you what. I'll pull one up and then we'll do it at the same time.
Okay.
I don't like that house. I don't like that house either. No, I don't like that one. I like this one. All right, let's do this one. I know it's a little bit higher than what I would tell you guys to go, but this is just an example, so it's okay. Do what I'd say, not what I do. Good. All right. So where are you talking about now?
No, on the calculator.
Well, I mean, this one?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. What were you asking? Then sorry, say your question again.
So on the inputs tab down there, this you see on this example the 683.
Yes.
So that's just the monthly payment of the seller finance amount over 30 years.
Yeah, this is what the payment should be at 0% interest versus what Deal Sniper is giving you.
Yeah, but that won't be the same number that the calculator gives us, correct?
This will not be the same number that Deal Sniper gives you, no. Deal Sniper will probably give you a higher number.
Right, and then that's what we put on the seller finance tab on the calculator.
Correct.
So I guess I'm just kind of asking, like, is that just there for us to kind of well, I guess it makes sense to see what it'd be with 0% interest.
You mean why is this even here? The interest calculator part? Because
if a realtor
comes back, yeah, if they say, hey, we want 5% interest, well, you just put your deal in and then put it in, and then it'll tell you what that payment should be, and then that'll be the new payment that you put here instead of the deal number. And then you can see if your cash on cash return still works.
Okay, I got it. Makes sense now.
All right, cool. All right, let's see. Does anyone else have a deal for me to underwrite? Oh, Chris, sorry, I didn't even see your hand up. What's up, man?
Sorry about that, Sean. Hey, how's it going? So I kind of put something in the chat earlier. I use that as an example. After we got off the call yesterday, I submitted a bunch. You guys kind of saw my response. I got to know. So I'll reach back out to him, I guess. And I already actually posed a question to him, just, ask him if there are any particular, terms that the seller's looking for. But I just haven't got a response. However, the one that I put in the chat, I don't know if can you see it or should I how should I send it to you?
Hold on. When did you put it in the chat?
Earlier, like around 11:30.
All right. And what's your name in Discord?
LLI or LL Invest.
Oh, I see you. Okay.
See it?
Let's see. You said around 11 today, right?
Yeah, 11:34. Right after Buddy.
Oh, your time. Yeah. Okay. So 1:34 my time. I see it. All right.
Mhm.
So I don't know if I can send this screenshot here, but most of the properties have been submitting high taxes. Is that wrong? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, I mean, because like, I guess even after we looked at it, I guess what myself and my partner are looking at, we're just trying to make sure that we adjust these numbers properly. When you say clean up the numbers, of course we understood that, but I think I'm just worried that like, and even though you said everyone says it, Deal Sniper already puts together a good deal,
Right.
but there are certain things or certain terms that we're seeing in the market, or that I'm hearing repetitively about, just needing to add a balloon or interest rate changes. Those are the little nuances that him and I are both confused on. So
Okay.
I guess if this could maybe be an example that we use to kind of help us understand how you would walk through adjusting this before you submit it, or even if you submit it beforehand.
So how would I go about adjusting the screenshot?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing that I would change is the monthly payment. I would probably just drop to $800 because who the hell wants $813.13? The down payment I would change to $17,000.
Okay.
And then that'll automatically change the seller finance amount to $26,000 or $236,000. And then the purchase price stays the same because it's already a round number. That's it.
Right.
That's all I would change.
Okay. Now to follow up with that, the taxes here. When I noticed that when we put this in the deal machine calculator, the taxes are already high. So I like it pretty much when I put it in it on the long term tab, it does not necessarily cash flow, but I guess I'm confused because I'm like, okay, well, is it that it doesn't cash flow, or am I looking at this right? Have I done all the proper steps? So if I click, I actually have this in my deal machine calculator right now, and it's right now I have. So I'll just walk you through what I have. I have the purchase price at 253 flat, and then the seller finance amount at 235.3, and then I don't know, for some reason I was the same question that the other gentleman just asked you about the monthly payment. That number I was wanting to make it the number that was on the screenshot, which is 800.
Okay. You're talking about this here? You were trying to change it to 800?
Under, let me look at where you're at. Yes, right there in that spot. Correct.
No, that's not where you change this.
800.
This is just a little built-in calculator for you for when the real estate agent wants interest. Where you would put the payment from Deal Sniper that's going to the seller, you would put that here.
Yes. Okay, here you go. Okay, so I'll put that number 800 in that box, right?
Correct, in this box here. And then you would put the taxes and the insurance, and then if there's an HOA, you put that in as well.
Okay. Can I give you the rest of these numbers and you kind of like help me look at this real quick? Because I just want to know how I'm looking at it. Okay. So I'll just read it off of my screen. Okay. So 800. Okay. So down payment 17.7. I didn't mess with the assignment fee, and then the long-term potential rent, I put 18.9.
Is that what Deal Sniper's coming up with?
Yes.
Okay. And then what are the taxes on the insurance?
And the taxes and insurance are 5594, and then insurance is 966. These numbers you don't mess with, right? You just leave them as they are.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't round those because that's for calculating. You said this was 800, the monthly payment?
Yes, correct. We rounded it up to me.
Yeah, that deal's a little tight. You do not have any wiggle room.
Right. Okay.
Oh, so what I would actually do, can you DM me the address to this property too? What city is this in?
This is in Dallas.
It's another one in Dallas.
I think all of the ones I submitted so far in Dallas here out to you.
So Dallas is having an issue. Okay. Well, that's good to know. All right. As far as this deal is concerned, have you already sent it out?
No, I didn't because I was just working on this one as I was taking a break earlier, and I just decided, okay, cool. Because I wanted to ask you about the ones that I submitted, but I was like, you know what, I'm gonna be out moving around, so it's easier for me to just submit that one to you so you can see. I do have some that I submitted, but I would rather, for the sake of time and everyone else's time, I want to make sure that I'm concise.
Okay. No, I appreciate that. Here's the thing. So you see where it says the cash on cash return is 9.46%.
Sorry. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, it's right here.
Right there.
Okay. So I do not want you guys to take this and run with it. I'm really proud of what Amber said. She said, I'm not going after any more bottom of the barrel deals. Good for you. So I'm telling you guys that to tell you this. The actual bottom for creative deals isn't 10 to 12%. It's like 9 to 10%. The reason why I tell everyone 10 to 12% is, one, I'm building in a threshold for you guys because I know that you guys that are new, not you guys in particular, but anyone who's new is going to have commission breath. They see these big assignment fee possibilities, and so they want anything to just get a deal closed, and they're going to give the seller exactly what they want to get the deal closed, which is good, but not always going to work. So I give you guys a threshold that I've already built in. The actual threshold is 9%. We can't go any lower than 9. So technically, Deal Sniper is still generating a good deal. But for some reason in Dallas, it is not generating what our parameters should be, which is above 15% for our offer. So I will get that looked into and checked. I don't know why it's happening in Dallas. Maybe we got to tweak something because the taxes are so high, but it doesn't do that in Florida, and Florida taxes are high too.
Yeah.
It's weird. But I'll look into it. I'll get it fixed and I'll make an announcement as soon as we're done.
Okay. And then so then my next question to you is this. When it comes to, I guess, the percentages down in the bottom, that's the other thing that I was really confused on, is what do we do? Hold on, I'm trying to look at it. Okay, so down at the bottom, the entry fee, it just tells you it's 12%. But on mine, every last one of them that I was submitting, it was just, I wasn't touching that. It just kept coming up as 11. But then it would be like cash on cash return, like maybe 13, 12, 11, something like that.
That sounds like a good deal.
Okay, so those are the ones that I submitted. But my question is, does the entry fee percentage, is that automatically calculated? Because when we go back, they submit us an offer and we need to counter it. I guess the mindset, the why behind the what do you change first? What are you looking at? Which one, you know what I mean? Like what variables make the most sense to like adjust first? And I'm talking about, I guess, like the easiest thing or the most noticeable thing. It's always this X, Y, and Z. You understand what I'm saying?
I do, actually. I know exactly what you're saying. You want to know what's most important to manipulate to get the numbers that you need to get in order to get the deal to move.
Yeah.
Okay. So what changes the cash on cash return the most is going to be the monthly payment.
Okay.
If I just drop this down $100, the cash on cash goes from to decidedly much better, just with that. As opposed to if I kept this at 800, we go back to 946, and let's say they want another $1,000 on the down payment, right? So let me change this one. 236. What was it? 300?
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, we're still in the. You see what I mean? You see how little of an impact that made? $100. Now, what if I go up $100? That's a dead deal. There's no good. So the biggest impact you're going to have is your monthly payment when it comes to your cash on cash return. Your entry fee percentage is only made up of the down payment and the assignment fee. So the only thing you can do to manipulate that is negotiate a lower down payment or lower your assignment fee.
Gotcha.
Because what makes up these numbers is basing the monthly payment that we're making to the seller, what's going out for the buyer, what they have to pay for, versus what's coming in. And we can't change the rent. The rent is what it is.
Yeah.
Same thing if it's got a mortgage. If it's got a mortgage and payment's too high for the rent, it is what it is. We can't change either of those.
Yeah.
So that's
So
it.
then,
The monthly payment will
okay.
be the first thing I would go to.
Okay. All right. And we don't need to change, like when we submit the offer, because I heard your replay of the conversations close today, and you were saying in there that when it comes to seller finance, 9 times out of 10, they're going to want, like the realtor's going to want a balloon. Okay, so that last part, again, I'm probably 5 steps too far ahead because we're talking about a deal that, might actually, they might consider. What do you mean when you say like a balloon? Like, I mean, actually, I understand what you mean, which basically means we'll pay it all off the balance in 7 years.
You want to know where the math is.
Yeah, exactly.
There isn't any. Adding a balloon is just a line item that you're putting on the contract. So
Okay.
in this situation, if it were this deal sniper deal and they agreed to it, I would write the contract. In the additional terms, I would put this information here. And then right at the end of the word years, I would say balloon. And then whatever we agreed on would be a number. That's it. It doesn't change the math. You don't factor it into the math at all.
Oh, okay, got it. And then when you submit that to, like, when, let's say, looking at the balloon, obviously it's more attractive for them, like you said on your conversation to close, because they are gonna want their money faster. But when a realtor sees it versus when a buyer sees it, what's the mindset? Are they usually turned off by this, or this is something that they consider for their client? And then when it comes to the buyer, what are they normally looking for? Because we're setting it up, but then they have to agree, yeah, I'll pay them all their money in 7 years, or I don't want to do that. You know what I mean? Like, what's usually their comfort level?
So buyers, from our understanding, and again, I give you guys tips that are universal for the most part, but a lot of them are geared towards my buyers because that's what I know. So from my experience, buyers don't particularly care for balloons that much. It's going to depend on the deal. It's going to depend on the terms, but essentially what we're doing is we're telling, let's say, the buyer of this deal, right, the investor, they're going to be getting a deal at 0% interest at $800 or $642 a month. That's all they have to pay out, which means they're going to be getting, call it, 15% cash on cash return. That's great. But when the balloon kicks in, if they don't have the cash to pay them off the $392,000 or whatever it ends up being after the balloon, if they don't have that cash in the bank, they have to refinance the property. Well, when they refinance the property to do a cash out refi, now they're going to have an interest rate. They're going to have a monthly payment. And if that monthly payment is higher than the monthly payment we negotiated, which it probably will be because we negotiated 0% interest, then that's going to cut into their cash flow. So they're not going to want to do it. And they're going to, if they do get a balloon, they're going to want the balloon to be as far out as possible so the house can gain some appreciation, so they can pay down the principal, so that hopefully when they do end up refinancing the property and getting that interest rate and that monthly payment, it doesn't cut into their cash flow as much, or if at all.
Right.
There are some situations where the balloon doesn't matter at all because the purchase price was so low that by the time the balloon comes due and they do refinance it, even if they have a 7% interest rate, the mortgage or the balance is going to be so low that it's going to be a couple $100. That's no big deal.
Right.
That's fine. I care about a balloon. But if that's not the case, then yeah, they absolutely will care about that balloon.
Gotcha. Okay. And so all of that should be, yeah, it does. But those are the things that pretty much tell us as, wholesalers, like, hey, add this much balloon on it, because it is for that buyer as well.
Yeah, you're not going to, I think I've only come across 2 deals that have closed in using Deal Sniper that didn't have balloons on them. And Amber, isn't one of them yours? Or am I tripping? Isn't one of them yours?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay. I don't know why. I could have. Anyway, someone's already closed one, and then there's another one that's already under contract. No balloon at all. So it's possible, but it's really, really, really rare. We're like 110 deals deep being done by Deal Sniper already. And those are the only 2 that I've come across with no balloon. So you're going to have a balloon. You're just going to have to negotiate.
Yeah.
I would much rather
yeah.
you guys give an extra, $2,000-3,000 on the purchase price than, a 1 year smaller balloon.
Right.
Don't go up
Okay.
too much on the monthly payment because that's going to mess up your deal. But on the purchase price, a couple $1,000, $5,000 to get a more favorable balloon for your actual purchase price, that's fine.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Well, that's very helpful. That definitely helps me to kind of like understand it a little better.
Sounds good?
Yep. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
No problem. Matthew, give me 1 second. Darren, what's up?
My question was like, hello?
Yeah, you're good.
My question was like, how should I pitch seller finance? Because I was just on the phone, and usually how I pitch, I'd be like, hey, yeah, we're looking to offer about, they said their property is worth about 500,000. I'd be like, hey, yeah, we're looking to offer about 50,000 over asking just to incentivize, seller finance. But I feel like there's a better way to, introduce seller finance into the conversation because I'm just calling them out the blue.
Well, let me ask you this. Why do you pitch seller finance in the first place? What are you trying to accomplish?
It's usually like a win-win situation for both. Buyers get the cash flow and your seller gets more money.
Okay. But why is that a win-win instead of them just getting all their money all in one shot?
Because they're getting more money.
Okay. But they're not getting all their money all in one shot. So why should they do seller financing?
Because they get more money.
Right. But people like their money up front.
Okay.
So
But,
why should they do seller financing on this property?
But to be honest, your property has been there for a little minute. I don't think people can afford it. So this way, you're getting steady like passive cash flow. And then like I don't know, then you get a balloon.
Okay. You were on the right track in the beginning. Even I was like, damn, all right, you were paying attention. But then I think you got fumbled, and then I think you lost it. You lost your train of thought. The way to explain seller financing to a real estate agent, I feel, is very direct, politely, but direct. Here's the thing, Mr. and Mrs. Realtor. I've seen this property's been listed for a really long time. Obviously, you guys are having trouble moving it. I've got investors that I work with that love these types of deals, that love these types of terms because they're looking to cash flow. If I can get these terms close to this or this, I'm very confident we can get this moved, get you paid your commission, get the sellers some money, get that property sold, and then on to the next. What do you say? That's what I would say. Because you need to attack, when you're talking to someone that's resistant to what you're saying, you need to start attacking the issues that they're not addressing. And what you're not addressing, Mr. and Mrs. Realtor, is that as a real estate agent, this property has been listed for a very, very long time. And if you really want to get it sold, I have a solution. Can we take a look at it? Just politely.
Okay.
So that's what I would do, because if you get someone to understand that you are a solution to their problem, it makes them more open to then explaining the solution, which is explaining how seller financing works. You have to be able to fix people's problem.
Okay. So just to go over what you said, because I start the phone off, be like, let's say her name is Sarah, be like, hey Sarah, this is Darren, how's it going? And then they're usually like, hey, this is going good. Like, who is this? And I'm going to be like, hey, this is Darren. I'm looking to put in an offer for your listing. And then I should pivot to, I see your listing that have been on market for, a couple months. I have a solution to I have a solution to your problem. It's going to be more polished, but I understand what you're trying to say.
Right. But here's a couple of things. So I'm going to well, first of all, hold on. Matthew, do you have a question? Darren, hold on to that question. Matthew, do you have a question about underwriting?
Yeah. So if the agent and the seller come back and want interest, are we gonna offer them less than what Deal Machine initially gave us?
How do you mean? What do you mean if they? So the seller
I
comes
mean, if
back,
we're going
they
to
saw-
overpay them at 0 interest, and that's kind of the interest over the
Oh,
term,
you mean,
are we
gonna go
going to
lower
lower the
price?
purchase price?
I would. Yeah, I would.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would. Well, here's what I would do first. First thing I would do is I would see if what they want for interest even works. So I would use the calculator. I'd put the
Without
interest that
changing
they put
purchase
in.
price.
Yeah, I wouldn't change anything. I would put the deal in and just to see how far off it is. Because here's why I'm not changing the purchase price right now. I'm not changing the purchase price now because I want to figure out the extra money on that purchase price. That's a good chunk of money. So I want to see if I can maintain that and still give them a monthly payment that works for them and for me, because it's going to make it easier to close rather than me having to go back and say, the only way I'll give you that is if you take this, because that's a hard line that doesn't leave a lot of room for negotiation. So that's just me. You can do it the other way. But first thing I would do is I put the numbers in, see what could work, because then you can go back and say, what if they say, hey, we want 6% interest, right? Oops, that was not good. Hold on. Oh no, I broke my thing. Hold on. Yeah, I know there was a problem. Can we go back? There we
Should
go.
be able to.
No, I got it. All right. So let's say they want 6%, right? That's $1,416. So I'm going to put that in right now. And I already know it's not going to work, but $1,416. Okay. So that doesn't work. So the first thing I would do is I would grab this and I'd screenshot that to myself. Now I've got that. Okay. So now I know that doesn't work. I want to see what does work. Now, for the sake of this one, because it was already tight, let's just assume that we pulled an amber deal and we just dropped it to 500. So we put in that number, it doesn't work. So now I want to see what does work. So I'm going to keep going up. I guess in this case, I already know it's $800. So now I'm going to go here and I'm just going to keep dropping this until I get to $800. Oh, close. Too much. No, it's only 1%. 1.5%. Yeah. All right. So that's what I would tell them. I would literally send the real estate agent a screenshot of this box, explain to them or reiterate, hey, this is for an investor that's trying to cash flow. I want to make this deal work, but as you can see from my screenshot, and obviously this would be the negative numbers. As you can see from my screenshot, this is a negative cash flowing deal at those terms. So what I can do is come up to a monthly payment from $500 to about $800, and I'll keep the purchase price exactly the same. Does that work? And you're just going back
1.5 interest instead of 6.
Well, I wouldn't even mention the interest. I would mention the payment. So if I started at 500 and I know that my max is 800, then I mean, I don't want to waste any time. So I'm like, look, I can go from 500 to 800. That's about it. Otherwise, the deal doesn't cash flow at all, and my investors won't buy it anyway. We're just wasting each other's time.
Got it.
That's kind of how you have to do it.
The interest rate sell on the deal sniper, that other tab. Go to the deal sniper tab. Do we ever use that?
You can. Oh yeah, you absolutely can.
That'll give you the same number.
I don't know. Will it? Let me see.
I mean, it'll give you the same rate percentage of the purchase price.
Where's the monthly payment? 642. No, it does not change the payment. Because if it did, it would have changed it when I changed this to.
Or we'll just do it on the other calculator.
Yeah, they probably didn't connect it because, or maybe they. You know what? Because this did work. Oh, they must be doing that. So for those of you guys that don't know, we are doing like a Deal Sniper version 2, or I don't know what they're going to call it. I don't name things. Anyway, yeah, and this is good. This whole calculator is going to be integrated into Deal Sniper, so you don't have to bounce back and forth between the two. So that's probably what they're doing, because this did work. I have a video recording where changing it here and showing people how to do it. So yeah, this did work, but if it's not working now, they must be testing something or something and they forgot to hook it back up. But yeah, just use the deal machine calculator for now to put your interest rate in. It's just easier. Okay. All right, Derek. Okay, so does anyone have any more questions about underwriting? Because now I'm going to go to how to come up with responses for real estate agents, sellers, buyers, whatever. Okay, cool. If this is not your first training, I'm assuming you've got your pen and paper out. If this is your first training, I'm a little crazy. So I usually say something super slick and then I'll switch to a personality and I don't remember what I said. So if you don't write it down, I'll try my best to remember it if you need me to repeat it. Otherwise, you have to wait till tomorrow morning and watch the video. All right? All right, cool. So I need a little bit of help. I'll do Darren. I know your mic is working. Amber, I know your mic is working. James, I know all you guys' mic is working. So what's the most common response you get from a real estate agent that's not a direct no that you want to go over? Nobody? You guys know exactly how to respond to real estate agents? Awesome. Well, then we can do.
Oh, no. Give me some time because I'm going through my texts. So just a second.
I'm gonna go through a couple of them. And actually, Darren, if you don't mind, I'm gonna talk about you first. You cool with that? Oh, I think his mic is busted.
I was about to say yes. His answer is yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, I can't if you can't talk.
Hello?
There you go.
Okay.
All right. So when you say that you get on the phone with real estate, all right. Let me
give you how I pitch it first?
Yeah, let's do it that way. Tell me what you say when you get on the phone with them. Now, what scenario are we going through? Let's go through just going over your offer.
Okay.
All right, go over your offer.
Well, usually I don't like if I'm ever calling the real estate agent, it's usually like a straight cold call. I haven't sent them nothing yet. I'm just trying to find the motivation.
You're calling them first before you ever send out an offer?
Well, because so I have a bulk texter that's sending out, offers and I'm responding then. But I'll be bored, so I just cold call realtors while I'm just waiting for other realtors to, respond.
All right, and what's the most common objection you get?
I think it's more about just making sure the payments are on time, but I always tell them about the deed in lieu and they're perfectly fine with it. It's either that or proof of funds, but I just say, yeah, I forgot, I just say it and then they just like, okay, that makes sense. And they don't usually push forward anymore.
So you're using the proof of funds from the cheat sheet channel?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd be like, I just have I have 8 buyers in this market. And if we can get close to these, terms, I know 3 or 4 of them that would be interested in this property. And then they usually like, hey, and then they're perfectly fine with it. But to find the motivation first, I usually be like, because since the property been on a listing for 90 days, I'd be like, is there anything buyers are seeing when they come into contract that I'm not seeing? Because I don't understand why a house like this haven't sold yet. Because it's usually a nice house.
Attention, that's what's up. Let's go.
Because it's usually a nice house, and then they just start yapping, finding the motivation, and then that's when I pivot to, we're looking to offer about 50,000 over asking. If you don't mind, I can shoot that over to your email. Hopefully, we can work something out. And then that's when the call ends. I'm on the call for 2-3 minutes.
Okay.
That's about it.
So then I will give you guys a little tidbit. Hold on, I don't want to take anything away from. Where did you get that from? The talking to the realtor about the house. It's been on market. It hasn't sold. Where'd you get that from?
I came up with that.
Okay, good. So that is a great way to open a conversation with a real estate agent about the property to soften the conversation before you get into the numbers. A lot of times I'll turn it into a serious-ish joke. Yeah, I was looking at the property on 123 Main Street and, it's beautiful. I like the way that it's been redone. The location seems great from what I can tell. It's been on market for a long time. Why do you think that is? What's been going on? Is there something I'm missing? Is there's a bunch of bodies in the basement. Like what? Like what is it? And I'll chuckle just like that. And then that's when they do exactly what you're saying. They'll start telling me why. And then I usually follow it up with, in my experience in doing this, Mr. and Mrs. Realtor, I found that when a property sits on market for this long, it's usually one of two things. There's something catastrophically wrong with the house that's not in the listing or the photos. And once people go and see it, they see that catastrophically wrong thing and then no interest. Or the property's listed just a little bit too high. Which one do you think your property falls into if you have to guess? Or based off what you've been seeing? Do you hear the curiosity in my voice? I'm not talking to anybody, but that's how you have to sound. Because you should be curious. And here's why. Because there is a third answer. It doesn't come up very often if you're marketing properly, but it happens, especially if you're new to an area. The area could just be a bad area. Like it's rough, like it's kind of ghetto, like it's a war zone, like certain areas in Chicago. Do you know that there is a city? I have 900 buyers in the Chicago area, good, solid investors. And I couldn't give them a house in Harvey, Illinois for free. Couldn't give it away. The area is so rough, no investor wants it. Section 8, high rent, they could be a 50% cash on cash return. They don't want it. House is brand new, completely rehabbed. Everything's only 2 weeks old. $5. No, I'm good. I'm not even kidding. They won't take it. So it could be something like that, but most of the time it's not if you're marketing in the right spot. So it kind of forces them to, it gives them a way to admit that the property is overpriced. And a lot of times you'll hear, yeah, the seller thinks that they can get this amount, so I'm listing it for this amount. You'll hear that a lot.
Yeah.
Right? Am I wrong?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
No, you're not wrong.
So when you hear that, you can say, okay, look, I'm interested in the property, but I'm only purchasing properties one way this year. And I've had a lot of success with it last year. I kind of dabbled in it. It was really successful. I'm only looking to buy properties creatively. But
I just said that.
that's fantastic. If you're, I know, dude, I'm under your bed. If your sellers are open to it, I can probably offer, and then that's when you give them the whatever, $20,000 over asking, $30,000 over asking. And then you can go straight into, and for those of you who have not looked and memorized those things, and Darren, apparently you have, good for you, go to the cheat sheet and memorize those responses. You can craft that response anytime the idea of you being a wholesaler comes up or needs to come up. If they ask you, are you a real estate agent? Are you the one that's going to be buying the property? You can eliminate the first line from my POF answer, and that explains exactly who you are, what you're doing, and what your plan is. It even includes paying them their commission, which, James, that's probably where you remember seeing me say that. It's in the cheat. It's at the end of the POF thing. It says, hey, and by the way, I'll probably be covering your commission, so how much are you charging? If you can get that memorized, you don't have to sound like me when you say it. As long as you're saying it smooth, slow is smooth, smooth is fast, that kind of thing, then you get your point across. You sound confident. You sound like you've done this before. Like, that's why when I talk to people, that's why I say I don't care, because I sound like I don't care. I sound professional. I sound polished. I sound like I don't care. Like, this is business as usual. That's the difference between, think of football, for those of you who like football. What's the difference between someone who scores a touchdown and does a 5-minute victory dance versus someone who scores a touchdown and just turns around and walks away? The guy who does the victory dance, yeah, he's never done it before. It's exactly right. The guy who just walks away, oh yeah, it's business as usual. It's just Friday. All right, come on, next play. That's it. He doesn't care either. Is he happy he got it? Yeah. Does he care? No, this is my job. This is what I do. Next. That's the kind of tone you want to have when you're trying to posture yourself as a professional. This is just how I do it. Yeah, I've been doing this all the time. If you guys don't have a story, use my story. What do you say when a real estate agent says, well, what company do you work for? Does anyone have a good one for this? Because you guys have been giving great answers. You guys don't even need me anymore.
I'll usually just be like, I don't work for no company. I actually work for a few buyers in this area, and it just goes back to the if we can get close to these terms, and I know 3-4 buyers, blah blah blah. I'll move forward.
Okay.
I feel like all realtors really they all ask the same question, so
That's
it's
very
like engraved in my mind. Like I already know what they're about to ask before they even ask it. So even in that prompt, when I'm first like introducing myself, sometimes I might just come on and be like, just to be transparent with you, I am, I do buy in this area, but for this specific listing, I would be looking to assign this. So they already know what my role is, and it don't waste no time.
My man, that's what's up. Now, I can tell without being under his bed that just from what he's saying, he makes calls and does this every single day. The moment I say something, him and I are fighting to answer, and our answers are very similar. So good job. Like seriously, good job. Because aren't you like a baby? Aren't you like 18 or some shit?
Yeah, I'm 18.
See?
Oh, and that one thing when you said like just let it be silent, like that, it works. Like,
Oh, use silence as a weapon?
yeah, I just go dead quiet.
It's almost like I know what I'm talking about. It's crazy.
It's because like after I pitch, like, oh, is there any issue with the property? It's been on MLS for like a minute, and then I just go dead quiet, and they'll talk for 2 minutes, and they'll pause, thinking I'm finna say something, but I don't say nothing at all, and then they just keep talking and talking and talking.
Yep. It's all psychological.
At first, I used to think it's like awkward, but it's not awkward.
It's not. It's awkward. You just have to be comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
It's awkward. Like I like talking, so it's real hard for me to shut up, as you guys can tell from these trainings. But it's more fun to win, and using silence as an ally. That's awesome. That's a great. Yeah. You're definitely on your way. Definitely on your way. All right. So, do you mind if I adjust or shift your perspective on one thing? I'm assuming you don't do this on a normal call. You did it on this one because this one isn't real. But I'm gonna address it just in case. You said I don't work for no company. You don't actually say that, right? You say I don't work for a company.
They usually ask, am I represented by somebody, or am I a real estate agent?
Okay. Yeah, I want to make sure that you guys are using proper diction when you guys are, especially for those of you that sound young, because you guys have a hard enough time people taking you seriously anyway. But if you sound the part, it's really hard for them to say, oh, you're not serious. Bullshit. You hear what I just said? Okay. So does anyone have a problem hardlining a real estate agent? And when I say hardlining, what I mean is putting your foot down. Hey, this is what Darren, obviously, I know you don't. Hey, this is what I'm trying to do. And again, going back to the cheat sheet, if you go to why the 0% interest, that is another way to explain and introduce that you're a wholesaler and what your plan is and why you offered what you offered. A lot of people will accept what you tell them as long as you give them a valid reason. It also helps to throw in the word because right before you do that. It's psychological. I don't know why. But when you use the word because and then give a reason that just makes sense, whether they agree with it or not, they're like 35% more likely to go along with your suggestion because you use the word because. I don't know why. I just know it works.
I know that.
Yeah, when you don't sleep, you can like study brains and you wait. My team, their NLPQ stuff that I taught them, one of my guys, because he's like, I don't know. Well, he doesn't anymore. So I guess it's okay if I tell a story. He used to live with his parents, and his parents were a little, controlling. And even though he was 21 years old, lived in the basement. Anyway, made money. He ended up moving. But he started using the stuff that I was teaching him on his parents. He got them to buy him a car. They said they would never buy him a car. They bought him a brand new cell phone. They said, I'm like, damn, dude, you're just spoiled. But no, he told me what he was saying to them and how he kept talking to them, kind of doing mini programmings, and he got all this stuff. Now he takes care of them now, but at the time it was hilarious. So yeah, this I don't know why it works, but it works. So that's the answer when you're talking to a real estate agent and they say, well, what company do you work for? I don't work for a company. I work with these buyers directly. They actually hire me to go out and find these properties. I just have a bunch of them. In this particular market, I have about 9. And if we can get this deal under contract for these terms or close to it, and it can cash flow for my investors, I know 4 or 5 of them, they'll take this thing down in a heartbeat. I just need it under contract for a couple of weeks so they can do their due diligence. Once I've identified which one's going to move forward, I got no problem submitting proof of funds to NEMD. I can do it within 48 hours.
Oh, another question they always ask is, have you seen the property? They love to ask
Oh,
that
that's a
question.
good one. That's a real good one. So
Yeah,
what do
that's
you
how I
typically say?
introduce my
With your
buyers.
wholesaler?
Yeah,
Good
that's
for you.
no, that's how I'll be like, yeah, you know, my buyers usually do their own due diligence. I just connect them with the property. So once we get that under contract, then you know, they do their own due diligence.
Gotcha. And then what I would add at the end of that, because you want to make sure you're keeping them inclusive, the more that you keep someone, how can I say this? I know what I want to say, but I don't know how to say it. The more that you include someone in your plan and give them big roles in it, the more that they will work to see that plan come to fruition, even if that means helping to get the plan started by presenting the offer to the seller. So at the end of that, I would say something along the lines of, yeah, Darren, they do their own due diligence. So once we get this under contract, I will pass the information on to them, give them the numbers that I've ran, the terms of the deal, and then that's where I'm going to need to lean on you. I'm going to be scheduling their walkthroughs with either them or their contractor just to give it a once over. We're not doing formal inspections, but just to give the property a once over, I'm going to need to schedule that directly through you. How much time do you need a heads up for before we can get someone in there? And then be quiet. Now, it doesn't matter what that question was. The question could have been about how soon can we get title open? Do you have a particular title company you use in this area that you like? Because I'm wholesaling, I'm not from there. The question could be anything. The important part was that's where I'm going to need to lean on you. I'm going to need your help on this one. There, and then you start going. I'm including you into my plan. The more you feel a part of my plan, and now I'm telling you I need you, yeah, you're going to do that much more subconsciously just to get this done. You're going to want to help. I've included you. I've made you part of the team.
That makes sense. That kind of like plays into the part, like, because I like, even when I'm talking to like a girl, like I like to say their name. So like, it feels like, I don't know how to explain it, but you know what I mean?
It's like flirting.
Yeah, like I just keep saying the name, like even if I talk to them or like
now you can hold
is.
on, you can overdo that, Darren. You can definitely overdo that, Darren. Could you imagine, Darren, if I said your name over and over, Darren? That'd be hilarious.
Okay, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You can overdo it.
Yeah, not overdo it like that, but
yeah, usually it's 3 to 5 times in a 20-minute conversation. I'll drop somebody's name. I'll usually do it 2 times in the beginning relatively quickly. And then when they tell me a story that's got some sort of, and this isn't fake, by the way. I don't want anyone to think that I'm manipulating these people. I'm not manipulating anyone. When I talk to someone, one of the other reasons why I credit my success at being good at sales in general, I'm genuinely curious about any person that I talk to. I'm genuinely curious about anything that I don't know anything about. And I genuinely care if these people get taken care of. You also have to have that or be able to mimic it. I can't mimic it because I actually do it. So when I'm asking someone a question and they tell me, oh yeah, I did this, this, and this, and guess what? It ended up being a snake. Darren, you're kidding. That's when I'll throw in their notes. Something that's natural. So yes, I am planning on where I'm putting their names in, but my curiosity and sincerity is 100% real. So, and it's going to work better in your favor if yours is too, because people can feel that even over the phone. They can feel it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Amber, what's up? Sorry, you had your hand up for a while and I could talk forever.
No, it's okay. I needed all of that info. So in regards to the realtor asking, not necessarily for proof of funds, but I think the last one I showed you was about contingencies. So I answered that in full. And then I said, I'll go ahead and include a copy of the PSA that we use just to kind of ease you in the seller's mind. For quick review. Is that something that you recommend, or should I just cut that out altogether?
Oh no, yeah. You guys know me, and for those of you that don't, Be honest. Yeah, we'll let you in. You want to see a copy of the contract so you can get familiar with how we do things? Take your time to look it over. You can go for it. Yeah, I'll send it right over. Take your time. That's how because again, that leads more into how much different does that sound? Yeah, take your time then. Hey, you know what? We need to get this thing signed right away. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to email it to you. I'm going to be on the phone with you. Let's get it done. We'll get it signed today because we need to move on this.
It seems more pushy.
Yeah, you sound sketchy. Why are you rushing me? Now, some people can be aggressive in a very elegant way that's very salesy and smooth, and it works. I don't have that. So I'm more one of those people that I'm going to give you all the information. I'm going to let you completely into what I'm doing, and you'll have so much information, you'll feel stupid not going with me. That's how I do it.
Okay.
So yeah, I would absolutely leave that in. Show them. We have nothing to hide.
Thank you. And then as far as just for example, if they say something about we don't do blind offers or we don't accept blind offers, I feel what Darren just said kind of ties into it as far as, we can lock it in. But I feel like if I say we can lock it in, that also sounds pushy. And maybe they wonder why they're signing something before someone sees the property.
That's going to be, no, I 100% see what you're saying. That's going to be dependent on each individual real estate agent, because that rebuttal that you got, it's kind of common, but it's not really that common. And then once you explain to them that you're wholesaling the property and that your buyers will walk it, if they're okay with you being a wholesaler, then that should eliminate that right then and there. It really should be, oh, okay, from the realtor. If they're not okay with working with a wholesaler, they're either going to shut you down right there, or they'll just give you some impossible task like, well, it doesn't matter. I'm not accepting an offer unless you see it. Then I would follow up in a month. I'd move on and follow up in a month.
What if they're or if it seems like they're afraid that the buyer would cancel the contract once seeing the property?
Wait, what do you mean? Say that again.
What if the realtor is afraid that once the property is under contract, the buyer is going to walk away, once they lay eyes on the property?
Well, if you're explaining, if you're explaining to them, if they understand that you're wholesaling the property anyway, then they're not really reliant on one buyer. The idea that you said, if you're following everything else, is that
the 7 investors.
Yeah, I got a bunch. So don't worry about
you.
Okay. The hell with that buyer. I got more. All I need is 2 weeks. And the idea too that you want to get all the realtors to understand is, and again, you want to say this in a more professional or polite way. And I would give you guys word for word, like in the cheat sheet, I probably will, but not tonight. I want you guys to come up with your way of saying what I say. So I'm going to give you guys the method behind it, like what I'm actually trying to say. Here's the thing, Mr. and Mrs. Realtor. The property's been listed for X amount of days. I'm literally asking you for 2 weeks. I'm asking you for 2 weeks to pitch it to my buyers at these terms or close to it. If they can cash flow with these terms, I don't see any reason why I can't move this deal for you. And at the end of 2 weeks, even if I completely drop the ball, literally nothing's changed. It's not costing anyone any money. The property's still going to be on the market. And if you want to take pending offers while I'm doing my thing, by all means, go for it. If you find a cash buyer before I find a buyer for creative, I'll let you out of the contract. No big deal. I'm not here to make that.
Very straightforward. Okay. I like that. Damn.
Letting them entertain offers while you're still in the contract. That usually that helps them.
Yeah. Because it's and letting them know, if you tell them, just like you tell them about, hey, I'm not trying to take this deal from you. Far from it. If push comes to shove, I'll pay your commission. I'm not worried about that. It's the same idea when you're talking about getting the deal closed with a buyer. Look, I'm just trying to get this property moved. That's it. I'm trying to get us all paid. If I can, awesome. If I can't, it's been 2 weeks. Nothing's changed. And then the other thing too, if you guys find a cash buyer, and I'll even put this in the contract, and you can put it in the additional terms. If you guys find a cash buyer during my 2 weeks due diligence and I don't have a buyer that's ready to close, I'll cancel the contract. I'll let you guys out. I'm here to make allies, not enemies. I want to work with you for a long time. I want to work with you on future deals. So yeah, if you guys find a buyer that's going to pay all cash and you guys want to take that offer, I'll cancel my contract immediately. And then I'll just talk to you about the next one.
Yeah, I can't wait to use that.
That's how you build relationships with people. You let them know. Now, again, there are ways to be aggressive and do it that's not me. I don't know how to do that way. I know how to do this way. And this way has been working. James, what's up, man?
One of the questions I had recently was, is the property still going to show up on the seller's credit? I mean, what happens when they get that deed signed? What happens for the seller at that point?
So we're talking about a sub-2 or a hybrid?
Yes.
Okay. So on a sub-2 or hybrid, at the end of closing, yes, the mortgage is going to still be in the seller's name under their social security number. The deed and the title will not be. It will be in the new buyer's name so that they can cover the taxes, the insurance, and everything like that. Maintenance on the property, tax codes, not property management, city code violate, things like that.
Well, you said the city is going to be in the, not the city, the deed is going to be in their name? I mean, the deed is not going to be in their name. Because I know, like, the DTI is removed and all that. And,
that's the DTI. But at closing, the title and the deed will go in the seller's name. I'm sorry, the buyer will go in the new investor's name.
I'm going to start saying that. Because, like, usually when I say, oh, yeah, it's still going to be in your name, we're just making the payments for you, I should also follow up with the deed is going to be in the buyer's name. I feel like that's going to ease their mind a little bit.
Yeah, and here's another thing too. A lot of people, I've not a lot. I've seen a few enough for me to talk about it. I have seen real estate agents respond. I've seen screenshots where they're talking about the monthly payment, and they're like, "But there's still taxes and insurance. What about those?" In every single creative financing scenario that we do, the new investor, the buyer, will cover the taxes and the insurance. Seller finance, subject to, hybrid, wrap, land deals, deed for contract. Our investor will cover it. That monthly payment that we're giving to them is for the seller, free and clear. They won't have to pay for any of the maintenance, the taxes, the insurance, nothing. That is just for them. They're not expected to cover the taxes and the insurance. We will cover the taxes, or the investor, on all deals, except cash, obviously. All right. Are there any other real estate agent objections, seller objections, or things that you guys want to go over and how to respond to them?
I guess proof of funds and EMD kind of correlate.
Well, no, not necessarily. I mean, proof of funds is one thing. EMD is completely different. EMD just means the earnest money deposit. Proof of funds is a bank account showing that you have the money to buy the house.
I meant with, like, because we won't be submitting it, the buyer would.
Oh, yeah.
Tie that into. I was just thinking out loud.
No, you're all good. I can't even do that because of all of the voices in my head. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, so no other questions about real estate agent rebuttals, objections, anything from sellers? Nothing. Okay, cool. Then that is it. Unless someone has a question about something else, I will let you guys go. Just fair warning, I will not be available for the first part of the day tomorrow. For most of you guys, you probably still be asleep by the time I'm in the chat. But if you need me before like 9 a.m. Central, I won't be available before then. Amber, what's up?
Okay, so last thing for me, I literally just got this. Realtor asked, send me your last 3 HUDs. I guess I'll just let her know that I don't know what to let her know.
That's actually a really good one. That's actually a really, really good one. Unfortunately, that's not that I would anyway. I mean, it's easy to go around. I can just send you my last 3 HUDs or anyone from my team's last 3 HUDs or any of my clients. Mm-hmm. Problem is all the HUDs have all of our names on it.
Names, yeah.
And it's not, I don't feel right about faking those, like whiting it out. And yeah, that's not, no.
It's kind of got you there. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah, that's actually a really good one. I don't have an answer for that one that's not a blatant lie that you could use. The only thing that you can do, tell the truth. Hey, I just started doing this. You know, I've got buyers that have already been vetted by another company that I work with, and they're ready to go. And if I can get this deal under contract, and in all honesty, Mr. and Mrs. Realtor, you'll be my first, and I'd love to work with you. Say something like that.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, especially that ending part. That ending was good.
The HUD is like your assignment fee, like that you get at closing, right?
No, a HUD statement is a big long piece of paper that looks like an Excel spreadsheet, and it basically shows where all the money went for the deal. So it has the address for the property, it's got the names of the people involved in it, and then it'll have the purchase price, and then how much this costs, all the way down. Think of it like a big ass receipt, but
So
on a
do
form of paper.
do people usually keep that?
I don't. I mean, I guess I think I have my first. It's like your first dollar, you know. If you had a business, you know, you hang up your first dollar because hey, it's my first one. I don't. I scan them, you know, in case my accountant needs them for taxes, stuff like that. But you get a form from title at the end of the year anyway if you close the deal with them. So you really don't need to. You can. There's nothing wrong with it. You just don't have to.
Okay.
So yeah, Amber, that's what I would do. I would just tell them the truth. Hey, I just started doing this, but my buyers are solid. They're ready to go. They're looking for deals. They're interested in this one. I got about 4 or 5 of them that are interested in this one. And this one will be my first, and I'd love to work with you.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you.
No problem. Let me know if that works, by the way.
I sure will.
Okay. All right, cool. You guys, no more questions? All right. You guys
You said group home dude never got back to you.
Hold on one second. I have 48 DMs. No, but you know what? I'll call him as soon as I hang up with this when I go walk my dog, and I'll yell at him and I'll get an answer for you.
Okay.
Give me like an hour.
Well, don't yell at him, but
Yeah, no, I'm gonna yell at him. It's okay.
if you're gonna yell at him to, you know,
24 hours to
his
send a
house.
text message? That's ridiculous. I don't care. I don't care what nobody says. There's no
Now,
excuse for the
now
response.
he gotta give me an assignment fee.
Yeah, now you got to do it, dude. All right, guys. I will talk to you later. You guys have a great night.
All right, John.
See ya.